There's one conversation almost every chow owner has had. You're out for a walk, or perhaps standing outside a cafe, when somebody stops, looks at your chow and smiles. They're beautiful, but they must be so much work. Sometimes they say it with admiration, sometimes with a look that says, "Never for me." We usually smile too, not because they're wrong, but because they're only seeing half the story. The funny thing is, the coat itself isn't the hard part. Understanding the coat is. Once you understand how a chow coat behaves, everything becomes easier. You stop working against the coat and start working with it. Those hours of brushing that many people imagine often become a few simple routines. The coat stays healthier. The house stays cleaner. The grooming becomes something quite different from what most people expect. Because here's another surprise. Many chows that grow up with regular grooming don't simply tolerate it. They genuinely seem to enjoy it. Not because they love brushes or combs or blowers, but because for a little while they have your complete attention. Over the years, we've come to think of the chow coat as having a personality of its own. It's patient. It gives you plenty of second chances. But it also remembers. If there's one message we'd like you to take away from this video, it's this. A chow coat rewards consistency. If you're lucky enough to have a chow puppy, the best time to begin grooming is before there's much coat to groom. Don't think about finishing a grooming session. Think about building a routine. A sleepy puppy, a quiet afternoon, 1 minute today, perhaps 2 tomorrow. Touch the feet, part the coat gently with your fingers, a few strokes with a brush, a moment with the comb, then stop. The goal isn't to finish the coat. The goal is to teach your puppy that grooming is simply part of life. Keep the mood relaxed. Keep it positive. If your puppy decides today is enough, today is enough. There's always tomorrow. Brushes and combs often feel quite different to young dogs. Many puppies don't mind a slicker brush at all, yet react very differently to a comb. That doesn't necessarily mean the comb hurts. It simply feels different against the skin. Watch your puppy, adjust your pace. Let confidence grow naturally. Those short sessions soon become something much more valuable than coat care. They're simply quiet moments together, one-on-one time, a chance to check ears, feet, skin, and simply enjoy your child's company. Some of the nicest moments with a chow happen during grooming. And if that relationship begins while they're young, maintenance becomes easier for both of you for years to come. One reason people assume Chow Chows must be difficult to groom is simply because there is so much hair. But appearance can be misleading. Unlike curly-coated breeds, the Chow's coat is naturally straight. The outer guard coat is slightly coarser. Those hairs don't easily wrap around one another. That's one reason healthy Chow coats don't usually mat over the whole body the way some other breeds do. At first, that sounds like wonderful news. And it is. But there's something important to understand. Because the coat doesn't tangle easily, many owners begin stretching the time between grooming sessions. 1 week becomes 2. 2 quietly becomes 4. The coat still looks beautiful. Everything appears fine. Meanwhile, where you can't easily see it, loose undercoat is slowly building beneath the surface. The outside looks beautifully maintained. Underneath, the coat may be telling quite a different story. Then shedding season arrives. Suddenly, owners feel as though the coat has become difficult overnight. It hasn't. The coat simply remembers every grooming session that was skipped. That's why grooming to the skin matters. Not because the outer coat needs it, but because the undercoat does. Maintenance is always easier than rescue. A thick coat can look overwhelming until you stop trying to brush all of it at once. The secret isn't brushing more, it's brushing smaller sections. Part the coat right down to the skin. With one hand, hold back the surrounding unbrushed coat so you're working on only a small section at a time. Then, with the brush, work gently through the section before releasing a little more coat and repeating the process. Small sections. Patiently, right down to the skin. That's where the undercoat lives. That's the part that needs your attention. Many demonstrations recommend brushing against the direction the coat naturally lies. That certainly has its place when giving a standing dog a deeper overall brush through. For sectional brushing, however, many owners find it easier to work through small parted sections in the natural direction of the coat. The important part isn't the direction, it's reaching the skin. A good slicker brush is excellent for this work. It's also one of the best tools for gently teasing small knots apart, a little at a time. There's no need to rush or pull. Let the brush do the work. Used correctly, most chows don't mind a slicker brush at all. Just remember, the brush should move through the coat, not scrape across the skin. Once you've finished brushing, follow with a comb. A fine and medium combination often reaches places that wider teeth can miss, while leaving the finished coat beautifully tidy. And once you've opened the coat to the skin, that's when one of the most useful maintenance tools of all really comes into its own: the blower. Once you've watched someone maintain several Chow Chows over the years, you begin to notice something. They don't necessarily spend more time grooming. They simply build better routines. One routine has probably saved more time than any other: a thorough blow-through, not after a bath, just as part of ordinary life. Many people think of a blower as something used to dry a wet dog. In reality, it's one of the most useful maintenance tools you'll ever use. Not because it replaces brushing, it doesn't, but because it prepares the coat beautifully for everything else. As the moving air opens the coat, it separates the hair naturally. Loose undercoat begins to lift away. Dust, sand, tiny pieces of grass, and all the little things that settle into the coat during the day simply leave with the airflow. It's also wonderfully gentle. Unlike a brush or comb, the blower isn't pulling hair through the coat. It simply moves the hairs apart. Every grooming tool has its place. Brushes and combs are still essential, but regular blowing is one of the gentlest ways to keep the coat clean, open, and comfortable right down to the skin. And healthy skin grows healthy coat. Here's another surprise. Many chows don't just accept the blower, they seem to enjoy it. Once they're used to it, it's not unusual to see them lie down halfway through. Some even roll onto their side or onto their back, perfectly content for you to carry on. It's one of those things that surprises almost everyone the first time they see it. If you live with several chows, or if brushing has become physically difficult because of sore shoulders, elbows, or hands, a blower can quietly change your whole routine. A proper brush through to the skin may take 20 or 30 minutes. A thorough blow, though, often takes only 5 or 10. That doesn't mean you stop brushing. It simply means there's far less loose coat waiting for you when brushing day arrives. That's why we like a quick blow through before everyone settles indoors for the evening. 5 quiet minutes. The coat stays fresher. Much of the day's dust and debris stays outside instead of coming into the house. And when the shedding season arrives, the job is often much smaller than people expect. Remember when we said the coat has a personality? Well, it also has favorite hiding places. Fortunately, there aren't many. Unlike some breeds, chow coats don't usually knot all over the body. Most of the coat simply asks for regular maintenance. But there are a few places that deserve a second look. Behind the ears, under the elbows, the large bib, between the toes, and one place that surprises many owners, the coat beneath where the tail normally rests. Every time your chow lies down, the tail drops away from the back. Dust, tiny bits of grass, and loose hair can settle there. When your chow stands up again, the tail settles again onto the back, and that little collection often stays hidden underneath. If your chow ever seems unusually interested in scratching around the base of the tail, that is always worth checking. Sometimes the answer is remarkably simple. The bib deserves attention too. Some chows hardly get wet when they drink. Others, particularly those with fuller lips or a heavier bib, can stay damp for quite a while. Keeping that area damp all day isn't ideal for either skin or coat. A quick blow through takes only a minute or two. The skin dries, the coat fluffs naturally, and you've quietly removed another opportunity for irritation to develop. Little jobs, done often, rarely become big ones. Once the coat is open, it's the perfect time to notice the little things. The things that are easy to miss, but make a real difference to your chow's comfort. Let's turn a foot over. Keeping the hair trimmed level with the pads improves airflow beneath the foot. That helps moisture escape instead of remaining trapped between the toes, creating a healthier environment for the skin. While you're there, have a look between the toes. During shedding season, loose foot hair doesn't always fall away by itself. Sometimes it stays behind, gradually knotting together between the toes. Those small mats can become surprisingly uncomfortable. It's also worth checking carefully for grass seeds or other tiny irritants before they become a bigger problem. A single grass seed trapped against the skin can be surprisingly irritating. Your chow scratches or nibbles, and before long the skin itself can become damaged. Sometimes preventing a much bigger problem really is as simple as taking a careful look. And if your chow keeps pulling a foot away while you're trimming underneath, don't be too quick to assume they're being difficult. Many chows seem to be genuinely ticklish under the pads. If you happen to lose the occasional argument with a ticklish paw, you're in very good company. While you're already there, have a look at the ears. Straighten any long hairs that have folded into the ear opening. If a few stray hairs keep falling back in, trim only what's necessary. It's also the perfect opportunity to make sure the ears themselves are clean and healthy. Around the eyes, a careful tidy keeps the hair from interfering with vision. Take only what needs to come away. The goal isn't to change your child's expression, it's simply to let them see the world comfortably. Around the rear, a little trimming simply helps keep life cleaner and more comfortable. None of this is about creating a show dog. Family chows don't need the level of preparation that a show coat requires. This is simply thoughtful maintenance. The sort of little jobs your chow will probably never notice, but will quietly benefit from every day. By now, you've probably noticed something. None of these routines are particularly complicated. The secret has never been working harder. It's simply been understanding the coat and giving it a little attention before it asks for a lot. Looking after a chow coat isn't really about brushing or combing or even using a blower. Those are simply the tools. The real secret is understanding what the coat needs. A chow coat is wonderfully honest. If air can move through it, the skin is happier. If loose undercoat is removed regularly, if tiny irritants are removed before they become bigger problems, your chow is far less likely to spend time scratching or nibbling at uncomfortable spots. None of those things require perfection. They simply ask for consistency. One thing surprises many people. Once a routine becomes part of everyday life, maintenance often takes far less time than they imagined. A quick blow through during the week. A proper brush through to the skin when it's needed. A few small checks while the coat is already open. That is usually enough to keep most family chows looking and, more importantly, feeling their best. And if brushing becomes physically difficult, whether because of time, age, or simply because life gets busy, don't assume you've failed. Sometimes changing the routine is more effective than working harder. That's one reason we value the blower so highly. It helps many owners stay ahead of the coat instead of catching up with it. The goal has never been to spend more time grooming. The goal is to spend less time rescuing the coat. Perhaps the greatest reward of regular grooming has very little to do with the coat itself. These quiet routines become familiar. Your child knows what's coming. You know what's normal. The hands checking the coat are also checking the skin, the ears, the feet, the eyes. You notice the tiny changes, a small lump, a grass seed, a sore spot, a cracked pad. Often, the most valuable things we discover during grooming have nothing to do with grooming at all. That's one more reason these quiet routines matter. They're not simply about maintaining a beautiful coat. They're part of caring for the whole dog. And here's something worth remembering. A family child doesn't need to look like it's about to walk into a show ring. It simply needs to be healthy, comfortable, clean. The coat should still look like a chow coat, natural, full, weather-resistant, doing exactly what generations of careful breeding designed it to do. So, let's go back to where we started. Someone stops, looks at your chow and says, "They're beautiful." but they must be so much work. This time, you'll probably smile, not because you've discovered some secret grooming technique, but because you've learned something much simpler. The coat isn't difficult. It simply asks to be understood. A few minutes here, a few minutes there, small routines built into everyday life. Before long, they're no longer chores. They're simply part of living with a chow. And perhaps that's the nicest surprise of all. Those quiet grooming sessions often become some of the nicest moments you spend together. Understand the coat, and it will quietly look after you in return. Because a chow coat rewards consistency, and a chow returns your care.